make sure it's clear.
So, the motion would then read, that we will pay those that are logged pages 1 to 6, less the item number 13908 for $20, and then we will have a new line on here for John Hancock / Manulife, not to exceed $12,500, which would make our grand total
$183,877.18.
What are you talking about?
That would be the total for all of this.
With the 12.
I'm sorry, 83. I apologize.
Thank you. It's not 100,000.
I'm sorry.
83,000.
I carried a one.
877.
We have 83. Sorry about that. 83.
So that's my motion.
18. Thank you, Charlie.
Well, fire chief's here. He can do CPR. Try to give me a heart attack, chief.
Yeah.
I got the
Okay, roll call. Campbell,
Yes.
Shano,
Yes.
Eddie, yes, Whalen.
Yes.
Who seconded the motion? Yes.
I did.
Okay.
You were still catching your breath.
Yeah.
Okay, old business, Michigan class.
I have no intent of moving forward at this time.
Linwood Beach drainage project updates. Mark?
There's Mark.
So yeah, we're moving forward on getting the easements drafted, getting those done. I had a phone call today before the meeting, concerned about the project not happening this year. And my understanding with our people is that it can happen this year. I know the guy that was here last week was concerned that he thought the easements would take a long time to potentially push it into next year. I guess based on the residents' interest in wanting to get this done, I feel like those would happen quicker than he typically is used to. So my belief is that we should still be able to get this done this year. At least, get a bid out and get it started under construction. Whether it's 100% complete before snow falls, I can't guarantee that, but it should be started construction this year. That's what I expect. So I just did want to clarify that. So as soon as we get those easements done, I'm gonna sit down with those guys this week and see if we can get them drawn out. We can move around the easements. The quicker we get those, the quicker everything else can happen. That's where we're at.
Did the check come in from?
It's not going to come in that way, so there's a little bit more information once we get to the agreement stage.
Oh, geez.
So it'll be a little bit of a different situation.
Oh,
The contract or the agreement is signed. Everything is all set with the state. There's a lot of reporting that needs to take place because technically the grant period started in October. So there's back reporting that needs to be done now that all the agreement is taken care of. There's monthly reports, there's quarterly reports, and it's a fun time.
Well, we've started to get lines painted and arrows and stuff in the middle of the road. I don't know what.
That's the survey work, I'm guessing.
Okay.
One thing too, I did want to add to that as well. I reached out to Tim Fitzgerald at the County Department of Water and Sewer just to ask if they did operation maintenance on stormwater pump stations. He said they do, and that he's, I think, working on one in Linwood Road right now.
Yeah.
Because we were a little bit concerned that obviously the drain commissioner's office will not do that because it's not a county drain. So I was happy to hear that that those guys can maintain those streets. So that's one of the things we're going to coordinate as well, is just to kind of like have this final design of the pump station, things he's familiar with, that they can maintain and keep up, and like they certain things that they like to see versus others who want to spec it out so that it's stuff that they're familiar with. They don't go there so they, I think they're blindsided and want to know what's going on. So that's part of what we're going to do as well, is coordinate that maintenance with them.
So I'm thinking, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud based on some questions I've been asked. There's 55 homes, there's 41 catch basins, and there's 1 lift pump, correct?
Yep.
I'm good so far.
Well, I trust what you're saying. I don't know all this.
Well, this is what we've discussed.
But I know
as
one
we do
lift
this,
station,
right?
yes.
So there's going to be at about the midway point a lift pump, correct?
Yeah, I think it's a little towards the north, but
Okay.
yeah, fair enough.
So I'm anticipating then that you're gonna have kind of 3 different levels of easements, right? Because if they have a catch basin, it's a different easement versus having a lift pump. Is
No,
that
I-
accurate or no?
The lift pump might be a little bit different, but everything else should basically just be the same, based on, there's basically the stormwater facilities, it'll kind of be called, whether it's pipe or a catch basin, it's the same type of easement. And most likely the pump station would be similar. It just might not be adjacent to the road. I had the plans with me 2 months ago when I was here, I don't have them now, but, I can't remember if that was kind of towards, away from the road to the west farther, I'm sorry, east? West.
Closer to the railroad property.
Correct. Yeah, so I can't remember if the pump station's in line with the storm sewers themselves, or if it's out. I think it might be up by the road more when the discharge pipe just goes out.
Okay. And somebody.
But yeah, they're gonna be
brings some
very
concerns,
similar,
yeah.
probably the same language on all of them, saying, if, they'll go through, they'll have to rip it up, they'll replace everything as is. And then in the future, if they have to tear something up for maintenance for whatever reason, that they would maintain and put it back to the condition it was when they got there.
Okay. I just wanted to check in that since it was
Yeah.
specifically asked. I'll just tell them to call Mark.
Yep, absolutely.
I just do all the grant junk,
Yeah, sure.
right?
Mhm.
You do the engineering.
Yep.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
It was fun seeing you again.
Yes. It was a good presentation of the trend, but I was there. So. You're lucky.
Okay, recommendations from planning commission.
So I'm looking at some other townships, grass and weed ordinances. A lot of them are all incorporated in the noxious weed ordinance. I guess I'm curious why we didn't move to amend our existing ordinance rather than starting from scratch.
I can take that.
Okay.
There isn't anything wrong with your noxious weed ordinance as it addresses noxious weed, but it takes a botanist to identify the noxious weeds, and as your zoning administrator, I'm not qualified to do that. Typically in other municipalities, the concern is your grass is too high. If you don't cut it, we're gonna send you a bill. And that's really what the existing, or the proposed ordinance addresses. The other one I think is more related to agriculture, and it's like, phragmites are a problem and they're not even on it. It could be repealed and replaced, or it could be left standing if there's an issue and somebody has the knowledge and ability to enforce it. I don't have a problem with it, but I think what really needed to be addressed was the tall grass and weeds. So that's what Don and I provided.
So in the past, or I'm sorry, when we utilize the noxious weed ordinance, what I've noticed in other municipalities is that they're adding simply an additional paragraph in there that specifically deals with the tall grass as well as the enforcement of that. It just seems like that would have been a simpler process. I was just curious if that was looked into at all to just simply do an amendment.
No,
Okay.
Well, how old is the noxious weed ordinance? Is that from the 70s?
It's still current law for us, so we could just
It's all
put the
still
paragraph
law,
in.
not only the current law, but we have always enforced the grass ordinance. So that's what's kind of surprising to say that we had no ordinance, because I know one family that contacted me that's received several citations over the years for not cutting their grass. And they're like, okay, what's going on? Something had to be there, or we'd have never been able to issue those citations over these forever amounts.
if the ordinance that you had, Mr. Campbell, said that, I wouldn't have recommended changing anything.
I almost
It
believe
just
something somewhere,
doesn't.
is what I'm saying.
Didn't see it. I read it thoroughly, and it's like, this is completely not what everybody understands it to be. So what I'm fearful of is people assumed it said it, didn't read it, and enforced it, even though it wasn't, the language wasn't there. So,
Well,
I just, whether you choose to keep the old one or not, I propose something that will allow the township to address the issue, as it apparently has been, but this will allow them to do it properly.
I know our township to the north, there's addresses both grass, weeds. I know looking at Bangor, Monitor, and Fraser, their height on the grasses are 8 to 10 inches, where this one says 6 inches. That's about where it is when I cut my grass, and I don't cut my grass short because I'm not gonna water it to keep it alive. And a lot of people don't cut it that short. I found it interesting that it said 6 inches though, because that's rather short, or long, but short, when you take into account. Our grass out here was quite long because we didn't want to have to rake it all the time.
Typical grass, Charlie, is kept at 3.5 to 3 3/4 by lawn-care professionals. That shades your weeds and keeps a healthy lawn in the state of Michigan. I've attended multiple classes for that, so.
Well, I use a lawn care company, thank God they don't cut mine that short, it wouldn't be my company.
I find 6 to be a little bit.
How hard would it be to change the 6 to 9 inches?
We just changed it.
Just change it and then
We'll do it right now. This is not an amendment to the zoning ordinance or anything. This is a freestanding general law ordinance, and you guys can make whatever changes you want.
Yeah, so it ain't in stone.
So,
No,
But
you
there's
can cross
one
out
other
6 to
question.
9, whatever you
who's
want.
gonna write the citations? Because in the last year, there's only been one citation written with all these numerous violations that you can drive down the road and see. In the past, they were always written by Bregel or Davidson, and we had, my understanding is, about one written in the last year. We haven't addressed 465 with the citation, which we were supposed to be able to fast track that one because it was previous legal litigation. So we were supposed to be able to just serve them with the citation. If they didn't clean it up within the 30 days, we just did it. It didn't even have to go back to court because of what the judge said the last time we went to court on that one. So, because the ordinance is only as good if you're gonna enforce it. If you're not gonna enforce it, you're just wasting time.
That's not what's up for debate here though, Charles, it's just the ordinance is up for debate. And if you just have a problem with the height at
The
9
height
inches,
is it, and
we
who's gonna
can worry.
enforce it?
I'd make a motion to change the height to 9 inches and accept the ordinance to regulate tall grass and weeds.
I would also just modify that just to approve it, just so the minutes are clear that it's being approved, as opposed to accept. I know that they colloquially they mean the same thing, but
question though, there's a couple in here, so we should do one at a time, correct?
yes.
Okay, you wanna make a motion and say approve instead, Brad?
Yeah. I'll make a motion for the ordinance to regulate tall grass and weeds to accept this in its entirety with the changing of 6 inches to 9 inches of grass or weed height.
I think you said accept again, but
Yeah.
we understand.
Accepting.
We can put it as approved in the minutes if everyone agrees. Yeah.
Approved, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're okay.
I second that motion.
Roll call vote, Eddie, yes. Whalen,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Bashado.
Yes.
Ordinance violations.
One,
Oh, I'm sorry, the resolution is this. Is this map of that district?
Township Board, resolution to approve the addition of a village mixed-use district in the village area, sections 1 through 5 of the township. This has a very lot of properties involved in it. I actually make the motion that we table that for this meeting. It was only given today, and the review is not taking place.
What, if I was gonna say, what is it in front of you? Is it a zoning amendment that it would add a mixed-use district? So I don't think the proper vehicle for that would be a resolution anyway. I think it would be a zoning amendment that would actually reference the text. Again, we're happy to be involved if you guys would like us to, but I would recommend doing it as a zoning amendment that goes through planning and has a public hearing as opposed to a resolution.
That's all taking place.
It's all happening.
That, and the resolution contains the zoning amendment, but I put it into a resolution so that all of the properties were listed, so there wouldn't be any question. It was just an area in the Linwood area, and so it had all of the property owners listed in the resolution. Both the amendment itself should be signed and the resolution. Not to disagree with Mr. Campbell, but that information is available at the planning commission for at least a month and a half. They passed it over a month ago. You were at the public hearing.
I was at that hearing, sir, but I never received a copy of anything that was at that hearing actually until today. And that's why I'm making the motion that that be tabled for further review. That's my motion.
I second.
All that, sir, has been on the website in the white book for,
Yes.
as Mr. Hamilton indicated, a month and a half. Before the
Thank you.
public hearing,
That's Brad's.
that was made available to the public for review. So that's inaccurate.
The changes that were made as a result of those meetings, we did not get a final copy to consider until today, is the point that he's making.
I'm not aware of any changes.
It looks like, to address my previous point, it looks like page 4 does start the ordinance amendment. I haven't obviously reviewed this until it was just handed to me today, so I can't really speak to the contents, but it does look to be in an ordinance amendment format. To the zoning administrator's point, I think that the resolution is just to assist to identify what properties are there, so that clarifies that point, but again, I haven't done any legal review or been asked to do any legal review of these provisions, so.
Well, I think it would be helpful to get some.
It should be.
We're happy to do that if the board authorizes it. I just wanted to clear up that,
Well,
yeah.
I would deal with motion number 1 and then we deal with motion number 2.
There's a motion on the floor. What's the motion? Motion is to table for further review.
Okay, we'll do a roll call. Shano,
Yes.
Whalen, Campbell. Yes. Eddie? No.
I'm not saying no.
It's tied, so. no matter
Motion
what.
fails.
Motion
Yeah,
fails.
well, I make a motion to send packet for
Legal review?
legal review.
I'll second. Roll call. Shano,
Yes.
Campbell? Yes. Whalen?
Yes.
Eddie, yes. Okay, Hayden contract, point to point. This one got confusing. Talked to Brian Waldy today. Last week when I had signed this contract, he said he needed this put in and it was being put in. He thought it was a different contract. Hayden was getting internet to the hall for Monday before the election. Because when I referenced it and walked into his office, he says, yeah, that one's been approved by the board. So this was a honest mistake, 75 and the third be board approved.
I'll second.
Which you guys, you were the motion maker?
Yeah.
Okay, we were both talking, I
I
wasn't
didn't
sure.
want to, so that's okay. Roll call, Shano,
Yes.
Eddie, yes, Campbell, yes, Whalen.
Yeah.
Approval for treasurer to contact legal taxes.
Just need to work with legal to collect delinquent personal property taxes that are owed to the township for my statutory duties.
Motion to approve treasurer to be able to contact legal per taxes.
Second. Roll call. Whalen,
Yes.
Shano,
Yes.
Campbell. Yes. Eddie, yes. Planning and zoning ex officio members. I'll make a motion for Treasurer DeShano to go on the planning commission.
I'm not interested at this time.
If there's no second, then the motion would just fail. So that motion would fail.
I would suggest that you ask other board members about their willingness to do so.
Brian Waldy. He's not here. He was the one that I wanted to ask.
He informed me that with the elections coming up, he cannot do it.
Okay.
I tried also.
Then I'm going to nominate Brad Eddy for the planning commission.
What about Trustee Campbell? Did you ask him?
Not interested.
You not interested in asking me?
Nope.
Tom, you had something to say?
I was just reading the agenda and it says planning and zoning ex officio member. I think it should be just read planning commission board representative. Because really, I believe what you're electing here. Planning and zoning is part of what they do, but the official group is the planning commission. And it's not an ex officio member, it's a member, it's a full seat on the planning commission, whoever gets it.
As an
Thank you.
elected official, they're ex officio. That's how it's termed in the law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it means like by virtue of, so like by virtue of being on the board there, yeah.
Okay.
And that's why they say that there's possible conflicts of interest if the supervisor was to serve in that capacity. And that can be seen from numerous different avenues where they say that there's conflicts. And we did receive some paperwork in reference to that in our packets today. And it goes both ways. The person who would be on there would be the secretary of that board. There would not be a secretary provided. There never was until most recently.
So I haven't looked into that issue, but just to reiterate my position on it, there's nothing in the law that expressly prohibits supervisor from being on the planning commission as an ex officio member. There are potential conflicts of interest which implicates the Incompatible Offices Act. There are some exceptions to that act that can be implicated. And so long story short, it's a pretty complicated legal area. We've previously opined that there's nothing that would expressly prohibit it, but there could be some things to consider there. And so if the board would like us to prepare a formal written legal opinion about it, that's something we would absolutely be willing to do. My other recommendations would be that if you are going to consider putting the supervisor on there, or even just in general, you may want to consider delegating the appointment authority, which would require the supervisor's consent to delegate that, because under statute, as I'm sure you're all aware, they would be the person making the appointment. So that's potentially another option as well. But just to reiterate, that's my position or my office's position on it. And we're happy to provide a legal opinion because it is a pretty complicated legal issue with, there's AG opinions involved, there's a lot going on.
I even met supervisors in your conference that you put on that supervisors were on planning commission.
Well, I didn't personally oversee
they
that.
spoke
Yeah,
to you, they
right.
spoke to
But
you.
like I said, my position is that there's nothing that expressly prohibits it. There could be some other considerations that the board might want to look into. We're happy to provide a legal opinion on that, or you could consider delegating the appointment authority.
Well, the one paragraph here speaks of MCL 125.3815, where there's the potential for the supervisor to exercise undue influence over the township planning or zoning decisions, and such as approval of the planning commission or appeals, or the request of a ZBA board. Note that any board member should be concerned about that potential of undue influence.
Don't you think you have that conflict?
I don't think so. How would I have that conflict? I don't appoint anybody
No,
to
you come
anything.
into an awful lot of meetings that the planning commission are doing. and-
I actually have recorded them so that that was out there, and I do not go to those meetings just because of whatever. So what you're saying would be, we have a board member on that board, that's when there's a legal conflict, but there's not a legal conflict because we don't have a board member on the board, and if someone isn't recording it so everybody knows what's actually happening, then how is it gonna come to be, Mr. Eddy? And you know what?
It was recorded.
You weren't, not the planning commission, excuse you. No, it wasn't.
I guess I got a question, because Charles has got a lot of years of experience in going through even the several situations that have arisen in the last year. What is your issue with Charles being on the planning commission?
I don't like the influence that he has brought to many items in the township. The way
And-
he's brought them.
And what are the items that he's negatively affected for this township?
Well, there's a lot of lawsuits and I feel misleading things that have.
I think if you're referring to the crematory, he spoke up and we had to rescind a building permit because of where it was at in paperwork.
Mhm.
And you rescinded that building
I
permit,
did.
proving that Charles was right. I think a lot of the lawsuits go both ways. These people have spent a lot of time in your office too. I just want to know what's wrong with Charles, other than your personal belief that he was right, even with the 170, because you rescinded the permit. What's wrong with Charles being on the planning commission? He has a ton of experience, and he hasn't been wrong.
Furthermore, it's also proven that if there's something that is a conflict, I have abstained in the past from a vote when it did not go, or if it could have benefited me in any way or size. I have abstained from votes on that planning commission, Mr. Eddy.
So I'm not putting you
Um,
there. And if I went on there, why couldn't you guys just take me off if I started undue influencing?
That's not quite
That's not how it works.
That's
It is
the
not
rule.
legal.
Today that
That's the
they can
concept
take
of
off.
offices.
The board can
No, they
remove.
cannot. When a person's appointed to a board, they stay for the term that they have been
Well-
appointed to that board, or if they resigned.
Well, they can be removed for misfeasance, malfeasance, or non-feasance under the statute. They're usually required a public hearing.
But according to this, that has to be brought forward by the supervisor, correct?
According to what?
To what we're reading here, that it's the township supervisor that has the ability to not only make the appointments. I'm sorry, I'm reading as I go
We've
here.
had
but it says something about
representation
removing as
for
well.
almost 6 months.
Agreed.
And we've had 4 people on the commission, so it's time to make a decision and get us representation. I mean, we can just cancel next week's meeting and then think about having one the next month. I mean, we need to figure something out.
The statute says the legislative body may remove a member of the planning commission for misfeasance, malfeasance, or non-feasance in office on written charges after a public hearing. So I think it could be the legislative body as a
Okay.
whole, yeah.
All right, so the other thing that I would mention here is that in this write-up by MTA, it specifically says The supervisor does not automatically have any other specific role in township planning and zoning compared to the rest of the board, so not automatically the department head, or directing the PC, or the ZBA, or serving as the zoning administrator, or handling ordinance enforcement, which I find to be quite interesting. If the township board wants the person who is holding the office of supervisor to have some specific job description within planning and zoning, that could be an option, but only if the township is under 40,000 in population and it is done by the board under the limited additional duties option, including having to resign any additional duty or go through the approval process again whenever reelected to board office. So, you know, as the supervisor, that does not automatically give any rights whatsoever for planning and zoning. That does not make somebody the chief zoning officer. That doesn't mean that the supervisor can direct anything. So considering that, I find it very interesting how this has been going with the problems that have developed with people being given information that is outside the scope of the supervisor's duties. You have also recommended yourself to the planning commission multiple times and you don't even get a second. So that's clearly not going to happen.
Well, clearly there's a lot of personal items, Mr. Shano, and I'm gonna move on to,
So we're gonna leave the planning commission without board representation because we
you guys
won't
had your
accept
chance, I went
yours?
through 3 people.
But you won't go through the person who's willing to do it because you don't want to?
Or the experience, or knows where to find.
You're the smartest person here, Charlie.
No, I'm not. But you know what? When there were questions, I looked in the book and I handed why things couldn't go the way they were expected to go. What the actual ordinance said and specifics.
Which are
So
backed by legal.
legal did support it, so,
Legal supported me being on it, correct? At
I
multiple meetings.
opine that there's nothing in the statute that expressly prohibits you from being on it. I think there are other considerations that the board would want to think into. It seems like you guys have a grasp on some of those. We're happy to provide a legal opinion, or could include in that legal opinion a way to possibly resolve this stalemate as well. So we're happy to provide recommendations, but without a board authorization to really dig into a complicated issue, there's not a whole lot I can give you right now.
Upcoming election help. Kathy, Kayla, and Pam.
Make a motion to hire Kathy, Kayla, and Pam for the upcoming 2 elections.
Second. Roll call. Campbell.
Yes.
Shano.
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes.
Eddie, yes. New election commission.
When I talked to Brian today, when he said he possibly wanted to be here, he's having some health issues. He said he's fine with the way the board's going if they're willing to volunteer again. And I'm willing to. He's usually short and sweet and to the point. So if everybody's okay with that,
Continuing with the current election commission
for the
with
next 2
with
elections.
trustee Whalen and trustee Campbell for the next 2 elections.
Yes, I would make a motion to approve trustee Whalen and trustee Campbell for the next 2 elections for the election committee.
I will second.
Roll call. Campbell.
yes.
Shano.
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes.
Eddie, yes. Linwood Pickle Festival. Garrett, we made it.
Yeah.
Over there.
So I don't know if you want me to talk on it, but we're bringing back the Linwood Pickle Festival. So first started as an idea, and now there's a lot in motion as it relates to the overall festival. So we rented the park. We've got a laundry list of things that are going to be happening through the weekend. So it's traditionally, it was always the 3rd week of August. We're going to maintain that. So it's August 13th through the 16th. 4 nights of entertainment, car show, Jeep rally, parade, 5K run, youth baseball tournament. So we're doing that. Anybody that lives in Linwood, we've started working on the Prince of Peace field, getting that back into shape. There's going to be the men's, it's in between a softball and blooper ball, so it's a 14-inch ball. There used to be an old St. Anne's tournament from the area, so we're going to do a little nostalgia play on that. So anyway, everything is coming together, you know, on it already. We've got our liquor license already tonight. It's on the board for review that we need to be considered a nonprofit organization for bingo license, and then also Big Six Wheel. So IRS already recognizes the organization as a nonprofit, so we have that all in place already. So this is part of the submission to the state and the charitable gaming divisions to be able to have those activities at the festival.
So we have the millionaire party qualification form. Both of these allow you guys to do the activities.
Right, yeah.
So you need our support to make this happen in reference to the charitable game.
Yeah, yep, yep. I would say that the number one question I probably get is if we're gonna have bingo or not, so. It's,
I make the motion to move forward with the charitable gaming, necessary applications for the Linwood Pickle Festival.
And would this be Brian Walden signing?
Yes.
Okay.
So they basically are exactly the same.
yeah, they're two
All
different
the same and
applications.
everything.
Yeah, yeah,
but
for whatever
just-
reason the state did it that way, I don't know why, but. it's-
Yeah, so just
Oh,
to
yeah.
be able to differentiate, because
Yeah.
technically they're two separate
Right.
resolutions, so they would need two separate
Okay,
motions.
second.
For the first one, we need a second.
First one is the Millionaire Party qualification form. I make the motion that we sign it so they can go forward.
Second. And roll call, Whalen?
Yes.
DeShano?
Yes.
Eddie, yes. Campbell?
Yes. Second, just so that they can get through the Michigan Lottery Charitable Game Division, the necessary license. That would be probably the bingo, Millionaire Party bingo, right? Is
Right.
This one. So, for bingo, raffle, or charitable game ticket license application, that's specifically what it is. So that's my motion.
I'll
Okay, second. Roll call, Campbell?
Yes.
Eddie, yes. DeShano?
Yes,
Whalen?
Yes.
welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
Linwood Scenic hand sanitizer keeps getting stolen. Somebody is very clean about it. So, Sequoiacs, stated that they have a lock system, but it's,
$25 a piece. We have lost 4 so far units.
And Troy Johnson was questioning if we could use some, sort of trail cameras and stuff up there, which I don't know anything